seniors in the Senior Learning Center, and to have these guys, they've had some time to develop an opinion about stuff. And I find it's always unique to find out who they are, what they're thinking, and to have a part in what they decide some of their life decisions are going to be. It's been an honor and a pleasure. And when Jennifer and Lauren came into my classroom, they were my two quiet girls. And both came not necessarily believing in themselves. They had some things that they did, but academically, they didn't really believe in themselves. And I had the distinct pleasure of watching these two girls not only find out who they were educationally, but who the God of education was. And they had to many, many, many times dig into their faces and find what seemed impossible to find. They had to do research, they had to ask, they had to pray. And I had many, many discussions with concerned moms who said, how do we do this? How do we help these girls do what they need to do to succeed? And so quite often we would go to prayer, and quite often we would get wisdom. And in both circumstances, these girls exceeded far and above all they could have asked or think coming into the school. And that's just academically, spiritually as well. They've both grown into mature young women. I had a talk just recently with Jennifer, who's faced some challenges this year, and her faith in God isn't shaken, not at all. She leaves here with the strength in God. Lauren's going to be giving our valedictorian speech today, and she's going to actually give you her testimony. She's going to tell you what the world said she couldn't do, and then she's going to tell you what God said she could. And that's so important. I'm so proud of Lauren. So I would like to introduce Lauren, our valedictorian.
God is so good. I'll tell you why I know that. In about grade 3, my family and I went to New York City to see a doctor. His name is Dr. Livingston. And he had me do a bunch of tests and told my parents that I had dyslexia. Dyslexia is when your inner ear is not functioning properly and information gets scrambled. You have to learn to rearrange the letters to make sense. The doctor said that unless I didn't have one-on-one contact with a teacher, I wouldn't understand most of what I learned. But I was able to conquer dyslexia with a prayer of faith that God heals dyslexia. It took some time, but eventually, over the years, dyslexia pretty much had cleared away. The doctors couldn't believe that the left side of my brain, which was only working 20%, was now working a big 80%. With 20% of my healing yet to manifest, God gave us wisdom on how to get it from a weird source, the dentist. When I was 16, I found out I had TMJ, and this can cause symptoms like back pain and can hamper learning, all symptoms I experience. I wore an appliance for a year and my TMJ was fixed, but not my back pain. It took about 2 more years, or continued 2 more years. Then one Sunday, I went up to the front for prayer and was healed. I thank God for healing me of everything and showing the doctors there are such things as miracles. Life at the Academy these last few years has made the best impact on me. Even though I had to stay longer than normal, I learned a lot about my character and myself. Being at the Academy definitely kept me on the right track. I made mistakes, but how it was handled was what made a difference in my life. I know being at the academy for me was the best way to open myself to God to work in these areas. Graduation. Wow, I can't believe it. It's finally over, done, finito. This for me is huge. I feel like a race car driver racing around a track for so many laps. And even though I was a lap behind, I've caught up, and I feel like I've won first place. I beat the devil. I tried to make it so hard for me to get victory, and sometimes when I was tempted to give into it a bit, God gave me my parents, Mrs. B, Mr. C, and Pastor, and they helped me stay on the right track. After graduation, I'm planning to go to school for graphic design. After graphic design school, I'll get a job for being a graphic designer. I'm not sure exactly where I'll be, but I know it will be where God wants me to be. And I know I'm equipped for whatever comes my way.